I'm in awe, and then I sit here and realize I'm pretty like dumb because
He
that's
doesn't
like
know.
Just
right here
uninformed,
in
Jeff.
town. Yeah, I mean, well, look, I'm glad you're here to inform me. Um, when it comes to experiencing Lancaster, what does Luke Hall do? Tell us about the
Well, we
experiences you offer.
we yeah, thanks. We started this company as as a way to highlight some of the things that often go um, unhighlighted in Lancaster. Most people think of Lancaster as Amish and outlet shopping and smorgasbords, things like that, and that's all great. But there's a lot of other stuff that most of the people coming here don't even realize they're here. In fact, the reaction that we get after most of our experiences, and we call them experiences because they're not just tours; they're other things too. But is that wow, I had no idea, and that's what we're going for. Even people who live here that take these that do these things, and it's highlighting much of the we talk about it a lot, but Lancaster has a tremendous not just history, rich in all sorts of periods of the country development, but also our cultural tours, food tours, things like that people get the experience, taking them around to places that they couldn't easily find on their own, giving them some access that they wouldn't normally be able to get without the intimate knowledge of a local. So that's what we try to offer, and really bring out something that's rewarding, educational, enriching, and highlights some of many aspects of Lancaster that often go unhighlighted.
How did you come up with the idea, Mike?
Well, it kind of goes back, when we originally founded the company, it was my wife and I and another couple, and our original partner Phil was out pumping some gas at a gas station in Lampeter, encountered some tourists from Norway who were visiting, having trouble with the map, trying to decide what they wanted to do, and they were going to a particular tourist destination, and Phil offered them to the opportunity to take them around and through some of his connections and show them maybe a little more authentic view of the county. They took him up on it. He toured them around and invited him to do the same thing with them in Norway, which he did, and took our daughter along with him. So along with his daughter and my daughter are good friends. So they went and toured Norway, and while there, came up with this idea. Came back and said, why don't we? Because we've been here, we've grown up here. We know all these, have all these great contacts. We're way into the history and culture of the city. Why don't we? There's really something to this, authentic experience idea, and so that's how the idea was born. And it's called Lokal because that's the Norwegian word for local. So that's the hook there. So we started doing them, and it's been great.
That's a really cool idea.
So, what are the various types of experiences that Luke Hall can offer? I mean,
Sure.
not just for tourists, right? I mean, like me, learning about the Lancaster Square, the 13 Arrows, the dollar bill. Mm-hmm. Locals can get a tremendous benefit from the different experiences you offer. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. What you see on your screen right now, that's actually a picture of my home where I teach a baking class. So I owned a bakery for 20 years here in Lancaster. So like I said, it's not just tours, it's experiences. So you get to come and learn how to properly make pastry and walk out with some great desserts in all in about 2 hours. And people really enjoy that. We do things, we have food tours down in the city where we take them around all these little great food shops that they might blunder onto one of them or two of them on their own, but being able to put that together, get the access to, for the people that own them, run them, spend some time with them while they're there, highlighting. We have other experiences that highlight some of the great restaurants in the city. So restaurant tours. My own personal favorites are the history tours because I'm just kind of a geeky local historian, and there's just so much here. We do a 2-hour Lancaster history and craft beer tour. So throwing two of my favorite things together, the history of Lancaster and some great craft brewers. So you can't go wrong there. That's not work for me. That's a lot of fun. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, I went to F&M, 100 years ago, and the West End has some great dive bars. So we do a dive bar experience where we go into all these great little, not back alley, but corner bars and things that are 50, 100 years old and haven't changed much. And that people really love that too. So, lots of different things. We have a couple that are Amish related. We do sort of a Lancaster at 30,000 feet tour where we highlight the, a little shorter time downtown, but we give a little background of Lancaster City and downtown, and then head out into the country. And that's one of my favorite things about Lancaster is you can be in a fairly cosmopolitan, hip city and all kinds of stuff going on, and 5 minutes later you can be out in just beautiful rolling hills in the countryside. And we have access to some private Amish homes that we will take them to. So it's not a tourist destination. You're not there with 100 other people. You're just getting to see the grounds, see how they live, things like that. We do Amish meals where we do a little history of the driving tour, a history of the Amish Mennonite settlements here in Lancaster County, talk about their culture and things like that, and then end up at a private Amish home where they can enjoy lunch or dinner with them on a one-to-one basis, which really gives them the opportunity to experience it up close.
How did you make that connection to the Amish families that you spend time with? What's the connection there?
Sure. Well, we've lived here for a very long time. I moved. Wasn't born here. I moved here in 1972, but grew up in Strasburg. And between the four of us, we know people, and it just kind of started from there. It was an entree or a request that is this something you might be willing to do? And they said yes. And you know what, my friend over here would enjoy doing that as well. So we kind of developed over time a network of people that just through contacts and goodwill and being respectful and making it a great experience not only for our guests but also for our hosts. So that's kind of how that's developed, and it just continues to grow from there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the reason I asked the question the way I did is, you think the general 30,000 foot view, if you will, of Mennonite Amish is that they don't want photos taken. They're very insular, kind of a closed community. But that's great that you've been able to make an inroad there and have a great a personal connection where they have a great level of trust with your company and you for the folks that you're going to be bringing around.
Thanks, and that is the case. And the way I usually explain it to our guests is that this is something that they really the Amish really like, and it is it is a little counterintuitive on the front end, but it's really they're used to being gawked at and seen as a curiosity, people hanging out their car windows, taking pictures of them while they're trying to conduct their day-to-day life. This gives them an opportunity to meet one-to-one, realize that they're just people like everybody else, just doing it a little differently, and I find that they find it to be a great opportunity, not just to share their own culture and way of life, but also to learn about everybody else's. So it's just a wonderful organic process or event for everybody, and I think they really enjoy it. So it's really not been hard to develop that as a result.
Yeah. Are the Amish tours your most popular experience, or what would you say is are the people looking for?
I mean this in the best way. It's the low-hanging fruit, because that's what people coming here are looking for. And what we're trying to provide is something that's a little different than what they've been used to getting. But so they're very popular. But also more and more, as you start with this stuff and you get reactions, reviews, things like that, each experience builds momentum. And we're a couple of years in now, so a lot of the other ones that started out a little more slowly are really catching on. I mean, I've done hundreds, literally, of Lancaster history tours and the craft brew tour, where they, people sign up, and pay money for, to spend a couple hours and really take a deep dive into what Lancaster has to offer, and get to throw back a couple cold ones, which seems to cap it off.
In the, obviously we're in this pandemic COVID time.
Yeah.
you're still doing tours. Why don't you share with our watchers and our listeners how you're affecting that safely for them?
Right. Well, normally we have about a dozen offerings. Saying normally when it's not, when before COVID hit, that are small scale, a dozen or so people or less, intimate experiences. Some of those we're not able to do because they're not COVID friendly. We want to be outside, so that it's limited pretty much to those. We're very adamant that people mask, and we have sanitizer and masks available if they don't have their own. We make sure that when we do go into places that we are respectful of everybody else. But there's a lot of things that we would normally be doing that we can't. We also do some large scale events. So we have one that we call the Witness Experience, where we show the movie Witness and at Zoocropolis in the city, and then we go out to the farm where Witness was filmed, where you get the opportunity to tour around the farm with a lot of the setup things and that's through a private relationship with the owners of the farm. It's an Amish family. And then have a long table Amish meal out on the lawn. So naturally, we can't do that with 150 people right now. We've also partnered with Bridge, which is a great organization here in Lancaster that helps refugees who get settled here get on their feet. And we have it's an experience that we host with them. We've done it a couple times before COVID shut down. It was incredibly well received and really, really powerful thing. They bring several of their refugee families along. We hold it at an Amish house who is capable of hosting this big event. They all make their ethnic foods. The Amish are kind of some of the original refugees, so it's amazing how much they actually have in common with a Syrian family or a Somali family or someone from Myanmar. I mean, just their stories, of persecution and things that led them here are not that far apart, even though maybe separated by a couple hundred years. And so they make this great, eclectic ethnic buffet, and everybody gets to eat all this great food. And then they get up, the most powerful part is they share their stories. So looking forward to we can get back to doing that kind of thing again. But for now, we're doing what we do and trying to stay as safe as we can.
Well, wonderful.
That's awesome.
So website is Lokal Experiences. That's LOKAL experiences.com. If you're interested in getting out of the house, taking a COVID safe tour for what they can offer and do, Mike, what's the best way for them to connect with you, your company, to get something booked?
Yeah, well, if we try to make it as easy as possible for everybody to book. So if you go to our website, you just pick the experience you want, or just click the book now button, and you can go there. It shows all the availability, all the pricing, all the information about what experience you might want to be doing. You can book. You can go on our Facebook page and and click directly through to that. That's the call experience. So like and share. You can buy gift certificates in any amount or things like that. They're great gifts to give to people. It's gets delivered electronically if that's what you want. So lots and lots of ways. You can always email us at info@lokalexperiences.com, or get on there and just call us directly, and we'll do our very best to accommodate you. We're trying to be as nimble as possible right now. So,
well, wonderful. Well, thanks for joining us, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Again, for those listening, Lokal is LOKAL. Looks like on social, connect with Mike and his team at Lokal Experiences. And again, it was lokalexperiences.com. Great company, great local asset. Mike, thanks for joining us. Hang tight. We'll wrap up the show here in just a few minutes. And remember, this show is also available as a podcast. Find the links at lancasterconnects.com. Please like and share this video, leave a comment, and tell a friend about this show.